South Adelaide under-18 coach Tony Bamford challenged his side to start last Saturday's home game against Sturt with intent, and he got the response he was looking for. The improving Panthers had been slow out of the blocks in their opening two matches, conceding 4-goal quarter-time leads in both of them. But against the Double Blues, South opened with a fierce attack on the ball, beating Sturt in the contested possession and unlucky not to head to the first break in front. Pocket dynamo Daniel Caleb was leading from the front for the home side, continuing his outstanding start to the season with a brilliant performance which showcased both his ability to win the ball and to dispose of it with class. Ex-Sacred Heart student Lachlan Hartshorn is also starting to feel at home at Noarlunga after crossing from Glenelg over the summer. The running defender played his best game in Panthers colours over the weekend, his ball use a feature. Up forward, ex-Kangarilla junior Michael Ross was kicking goals, 4 of them for the match, as the Panthers continued to push Sturt through the second term. But Sturt was always going to be a hard side to contain for 4 quarters, and after half-time the Double Blues running game kicked into gear. Overage player Nick Langridge was particularly damaging, the wingman running rampant in the second half to finish the match with 5 goals. In the ruck, Henry Voigt was superb for Sturt, and if he keeps playing like this he'll have some thinking to do at season's end. Voigt is a member of the SA Redbacks emerging talent cricket squad. The fast bowler also a member of South Australia's national championship winning under-19 team over the summer. Sturt turned a 14-point half-time advantage into a 39-point lead at the final change and would go on with the job. Ex-basketballer Henry Carey has been pushed into the midfield for the Double Blues this season, and he gave them drive all day long, while tight-checking Handor Football Club product Jacob Leake was typically miserly down back. In the end, it was the Double Blues by 66 points. Central District's struggles in the under-18 competition are a concern for the SANFL at large, and last Saturday things went from bad to worse. Up against a Glenelg side with a full head of steam and with access to all of its college players, the Doggies were always going to be up against it at Elizabeth. From the opening, a polished Glenelg outfit began to expose the class gap, and if not for some inaccurate kicking, would have led by more than 26 points at quarter time. Billy Stretch, the son of former West Torrens and Melbourne wingman Stephen, doesn't have his father's size yet, but he has his class. The young forward racked up 34 disposals last Saturday and kicked 6 goals. His football smart's obvious for all to see. Stretch's Sacred Heart College schoolmate Elliot Chalmers was also running rampant for the Tigers, the bottom major almost catching leather poisoning by the end of the day, finishing with 37 touches. By half-time, the Tigers had blown the margin out to 55 points, and despite the undermanned Central lineup fighting hard, things did not get any better after the break. Central's backmen, though, deserve credit for the way they battled. Gawler Central product Jackson Harry is just 16 and he's already played reserves-level trials at Elizabeth, and he showed why last Saturday with some composed play as a sweeping defender. Trinity College student Dylan Weaver was another who showed some good skills across half-back, while former South Gawler product Brian Bain gave everything he had for the Dogs, also in defence. Captain Bray McConnell, now at fullback, also acquitted himself well. But this would be another tough day for Central, the Tigers extending their break to 87 points by the final change. Emmanuel College ruckman Peter Spurling had midfield-like numbers for the Tigers, finishing the day with 25 disposals to go with his 25 hitouts, many of them finding his schoolmate Lucas Kanga. A strongly built midfielder, Kanga has shaken off some niggling injuries and played his best game of the season. His clearance work a feature as the Bays continued to clear it out on the scoreboard. In the end, it was the Tigers by 112 points, the Dogs suffering their 4th triple-figure loss in as many starts this season. Undefeated North Adelaide expected a stern test when they hosted top 5 side West Adelaide at Prospect. The game between 2 of the early pace setters had the making of a great contest, but it would fail to deliver. The tone for the game was set in the opening quarter when a red-hot Roosters lineup kept Westies goalless and booted 4 majors at the other end with a powerful display of pressure football. Overage player Luke Trenorden arrived at North post-Christmas after being unable to make Glenelg's senior squad, but is quickly finding a home at Prospect. The big ruckman was a dominant force in the middle, and every time he went forward he seemed to bob up, take a mark and kick a goal. By the end of the match he had 4. What Luke didn't mark, his cousin Henry Trenorden was often there to mop up. Also an overager, Henry finished the match with 35 touches and a goal to press his claim for a match at reserves level. By half-time, the Roosters had blown the margin out to 42 points. The Bloods held to just 1 goal, and North was not about to let up. Skipper Matthew Nye continues to do the job for coach Tim Weatherald across half-back, the youngster sweeping everything up and using the ball well during a 28-possession game, and he was ably supported by his vice-captain and fellow half-back Cam Sandicoe. The Gulfview Heights teenager has barely been beaten in a one-on-one contest all year, standing some of the opposition's best key forwards, and he's certain to come under consideration for state under-18 selection. By three-quarter time, the Roosters had blown the margin out to 68 points, the Bloods, for the most part, failing to fire. One Westies player who could hold his head high was overage backman Kieran Nelson, the former Goodwood Saints junior never dropping his head and winning plenty of the ball. Bloods ruckman Ryan Simister gave Luke Trenorden a good contest in the ruck. Simister has just started a roof plumbing apprenticeship and often plays as if he's another midfielder. But overall it was a disappointing day for the Bloods. The Roosters home by a whopping 90 points to move to the top of the table. On paper, Woodville West Torrens round 4 clash with Norwood at Woodville Oval promised to be the match of the round. Norwood, playing the structured brand of football that's made it so hard to beat across all grades in recent years, started the better. Overage player Anthony Giannini was dominant on his wing for the Redlegs, the former Marriotteville High student pressing his case for a recall to the reserves with his run, carry and neat use of the ball. Up forward, Tea Tree Gully Football Club bred bottom ager Ryan Llewellyn was presenting well, and by quarter time, Norwood led by 13 points. Steve Baldasso, fresh off a monster game against Central District, was at it again for the Redlegs, doing some of his best work in the first half en route to a 30-possession, 2-goal game, while talented defender Mac Bauer was winning his battle with the dangerous Eagle Tasman Fitzgerald. With former Hope Valley junior Daniel Williamson also winning plenty of the ball in the midfield, Norwood pushed its advantage out to 20 points by the long break, and the Eagles had some thinking to do. Their coach Shane Grimm urged his side to make better decisions with the ball, and that advice, coupled with the sheer hard work of his players, began to turn the contest. Giles Ellis, an overager who hails from Kadina on the York Peninsula, may not have won a heap of the ball, but some of his defensive efforts were important. Another pair of country lads, Clare Valley duo Riley Knight and Daniel Minnie, were also having an influence, and by three-quarter time, Norwood's lead had been trimmed to a tenuous 9 points. Minnie's effort was particularly noteworthy. The youngster was playing his first game in Eagles colours. Fittingly, the last quarter was an arm wrestle, with former Seaton Ramblers junior Paul Ventura leading the way. The Eagles quickly took the lead and had all the momentum behind them, but Norwood fought back and several lead changes ensued. At the 26-minute mark of the term, Redleg Nick Pansini had a shot on goal to give his side back the lead. He missed, and the Eagles held on to win a classic by 5 points to remain undefeated.